What if the legends of a great flood found in cultures all across the world are not just myths? What if they are the distant, fragmented memories of a real, planet-shattering catastrophe that reset human civilization forever? Welcome to Sleepy Time History. Tonight, we journey back 12,000 years, to the dramatic and violent end of the last ice age. Picture a world locked in ice for millennia. Colossal ice sheets, miles high, covered much of North America, Europe, and Asia. But as the planet began to warm, these icy titans grew unstable. They were ticking time bombs of unimaginable destructive potential. And then, they broke. The collapse of these ice sheets wasn't a slow, gentle melt. It was catastrophic. Unimaginable volumes of meltwater, held back by towering dams of ice, were suddenly unleashed. These were not floods as we know them. They were walls of water, hundreds of feet high, moving with the force of 1,000 nuclear bombs. They were powerful enough to carve canyons in solid rock in a matter of days, to redraw coastlines, drown entire continents of low-lying land, and erase entire ways of life from the face of the earth. This wasn't a single wave. It was a cascade of devastating events that unfolded over centuries, a period of extreme climate chaos. Geologists call this time the Younger Dryas. After a long period of warming, the Earth was suddenly plunged back into a deep freeze. Then, just as abruptly, it warmed again with terrifying speed. This climatic whiplash destabilized the remaining ice sheets, leading to a series of cataclysmic floods. Seas rose dramatically, not by inches but by feet, and in some cases, hundreds of feet in a very short span of time. Rivers exploded beyond their banks, becoming inland seas. The world map that our ancestors knew was violently redrawn. Vast coastal plains, where human populations likely thrived, disappeared beneath the rising waters, taking their villages, their cultures, and their histories with them. They were lost to a watery grave, leaving behind only echoes, whispers preserved in myth, memory, and scattered, enigmatic stones. Tonight, we will explore the hard scientific evidence for this ancient apocalypse, evidence that is etched into the very fabric of our planet. We'll look at the giant ripple marks, the size of skyscrapers, carved into the land in Washington state by a flood that dwarfed any river on Earth today. We'll examine the submerged landforms and drowned forest found deep off the coast of Europe and North America, silent testaments to a lost world. We'll dive into the ice core records from Greenland and Antarctica, which show abrupt, violent shifts in global temperatures that defy easy explanation. But science is only one half of our story. The other half is found in the oldest traditions of humanity itself. From the Epic of Gilgamesh in Mesopotamia, which speaks of a great flood sent by the gods to wipe out mankind, to the story of Noah's Ark in the Bible. From the Hindu tale of Manu, who was warned of a world-ending deluge by a fish, to the countless flood myths of Native American tribes. From the Aztecs in Mexico to the Hopi in Arizona, the stories are remarkably similar. A warning, a cataclysmic flood, a handful of survivors, and a world reborn from the waters. Could it be that these stories, separated by thousands of miles and thousands of years, are all describing the same global event? Did our ancestors witness the end of their world? Did humanity survive a planetary catastrophe that history almost completely forgot? For so long, these stories were dismissed by mainstream science as mere fables, primitive attempts to explain seasonal floods. But as our understanding of Earth's deep past grows more sophisticated, the line between myth and reality begins to blur. Geologists are now talking about megafloods and rapid sea level rise at the exact time these myths seem to point to. Could the storytellers have been the historians, preserving the memory of a real trauma that was too vast to be recorded in any other way? Imagine what it must have been like to live in a world that was literally falling apart, to see the sky darken, the ground shake, and the waters rise with no end in sight, to watch everything you know, everyone you love, be swept away. The psychological impact would have been immense. The survivors would have been traumatized, their society shattered. They would have carried the memory of this event for generations, weaving it into their most sacred stories as a warning for the future. This theory, once on the fringe, is gaining more attention. It suggests that perhaps there was a sophisticated human civilization before the flood, one that was largely maritime and based on these now drowned coastal plains. A civilization that we know almost nothing about because its remains are now hundreds of feet below the ocean's surface. What we call the dawn of civilization, with the rise of agriculture and cities in Sumeria and Egypt around 6,000 years ago, might not have been a beginning at all. It might have been a reboot, the slow, painful process of rebuilding from the wreckage of a forgotten, more ancient world. The evidence is tantalizing. We find massive, precisely engineered stone structures like Göbekli Tepe in Turkey, dated to almost 12,000 years ago. These were built by people who were supposedly simple hunter-gatherers, but the complexity of these sites suggests a level of organization and knowledge that we are only just beginning to appreciate. Could these have been the works of the survivors? A way to mark a new beginning and anchor themselves in a changed world. So tonight, as you drift off to sleep, let your mind wander back through deep time. Journey with us to the end of the Ice Age, a time of monsters, both of ice and of water. A time when the Earth itself was in violent flux. We'll sift through the geological clues and ancient myths, piecing together a story of destruction, survival, and rebirth. This episode invites you to drift through this fascinating intersection, where cutting-edge science meets ancient memory, where one great flood, or series of them, may have permanently altered the course of human history and shaped the world we now call home. Perhaps the greatest mysteries of our past are not buried in the sand, but lie waiting in the deep, silent darkness of the ocean. Thank you for joining me on this journey into our planet's dramatic past. I hope this story gives you something to dream about. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to Sleepy Time History for more adventures into the past, and share your thoughts in the comments below. What do you think? Was there a lost civilization? Sweet dreams.